be talking about, and that's the Message Center updates. And just as a reminder for the, especially I see a couple of new people, so welcome everybody that are new to our user group meeting. This is really kind of an overview of the last month as far as some of the big changes that are happening within Microsoft 365. And we really focus on a lot of the modern work pieces, Copilot being a part of that as well. And just kind of give you an idea of what's going on and some things to keep in mind as you are as you're trying to figure out what's going on in your tenants themselves. So let's get started. So we are talking about September 8th here. Everything that's kind of happened since last month. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is we are going to be jumping a bunch into Copilot in some of these conversations too. So just know that that's going to be happening. So we're making some changes here, as you're seeing from the agent side, some usage. And by the way, if you already have Copilot and you have some agents, this is already out. You already have access to this. You will need to have that Copilot license to be able to actually see this information that unlocks that feature, but it's available right now. And things that you're going to be getting, things like total number of active agents, usage breakdown by user and per agent, segments, license-based, right? License versus non-license. And then agent creator types that are out there, different options there. So that stuff is already out. You should see that if you go into that Copilot, or I should say go into the usage area, and there's going to be a Copilot area specifically for that. And then you'll see agents as an option in there. Again, you do have to have at least a license of Copilot available for this to be unlocked. Also on the agent side, so agent permissions, this is getting available in the Microsoft Admin Center or Mac. That's also got rolled out over the last month too already. And basically it's really consolidating, making sure this whole idea of being able to access and see exactly what's going on for the permission base for these particular agents as they're coming out is available for those who are AI admin roles or even general or your global admin to be able to access. You will be able to go into the agent specifically and be able to see in the permissions section more information about what the permissions are for that particular agent, what is needed. And then that AI admin role, if consented by the admins, will be able to then deploy those agents as necessary within your organization as that you need. All right, still kind of on the AI, but we're now moving from the admin side into more of SharePoint and Viva connections specifically. So this is also available as well. But think of it as an opportunity to be able to get kind of that audio podcast type update on all of these news articles that are coming out from SharePoint and then Viva Connect. So what it will allow you to do is actually take the top 10 items from here and be able to then give you a audio podcast. So you don't have to literally read through all of that. You can just get a summary of, hey, this is what's happening across my organization through that podcast style or that audio file that actually is using AI to be able to generate that content. Okay, so keep in mind, it's I've done that with some other tools. I haven't done it with SharePoint yet in the SharePoint News and Viva Connections. However, I've done it with a Word document. It's really nice to be able to then bring that. So it's easier for me to be able to consume that information from that from that site or multiple sites, right? Again, you do need to have a Copilot license to access that. All right, on the Copilot, again, on the Copilot side, but now we're talking about working directly with PowerPoints. So that ability to be able to have, hey, by the way, could you inside PowerPoint, I need you to be able to create this slide from X, Y, and Z. Well, now one of the things that they're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to pull in images from a SharePoint organizational asset library, right? So being able to actually have that set up, or a third-party app called Templify. Being able to access that within Copilot to say, hey, bring these images in that are branded images, utilize this as part of that presentation to be able to generate that particular PowerPoint. So that's part of what this is happening here, early September to October, or late October, right? So it's already out for some organizations, coming out here hopefully for others. Understand this is one of those scenarios where you don't want to let your end users know that this change is coming up. And it is highly recommended that your asset library has at least 1,000 images in there. So it has and actually has it set up with robust metadata for it to work properly. All right, we're going to go to the SharePoint admin side of things. Oh, Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to that one, it also, you can use your custom fonts or a font and have it create a font library as well as an image asset library.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle, for that. All right, on the SharePoint side of things, and this is going to be on the SharePoint administration piece. Again, this is going to be AI requirement, so there's going to be some need for licensing for this. It's going to be Copilot license, and you will need the SharePoint Advanced Management license to be able to do this. The thing about this is that, especially after a long time, have a lot of sites that are out there, and you may need to be able to understand what kind of policies are against those sites and then be able to refer that to what we consider a reference site to say, hey, how far off is this particular site? Especially as you're trying to get Copilot out there and you're trying to get all your data in a row and making sure everything is ready to go for that Copilot deployment. This is going to be a nice little tool that's going to help you with it, because it's going to be able to say, hey, I want to look at all these sites. I'm going to compare it to this reference site and look at things like sensitivity labels, if that's consistent across the board, external sharing, conditional access, block downloads, and restricted site access.
Hey,
are those set up correctly? And let's go from there.
Oh, not you.
Let's make sure everybody is muted here.
Yeah, I got it.
A second. Thank you. All right. So that is coming here. It's going to take a long time. Started out in October or August. It's going to go until December. So you may not be seeing this, but you'll be seeing this inside the SharePoint admin side of things, and be able to, again, you have to have those licenses to be able to make this happen and make sure your administrators know what's going on here. All right, on the Teams/SharePoint side, are some changes, and this is not a Copilot related scenario. This is more of the Power Automate workflows, those types of things. Automations within SharePoint it's just going to be a little bit of a change, and you're going to see that before it was actually called Automate, Power Automate workflows that you had automated, but now it's actually just going to say workflows. And so they're basically consolidating, so it's the same across the board. And you're going to see a little bit different experience as far as how to build, or that experience of building that workflow overall. So you'll see in the bar, the SharePoint bar, in your list of library, you'll see that workflows option here. That's going to take you into an area where you can see templates, different things that you can do. You can search for it and then be able to use that if you want to, or build your own from here, right? And it's going to only be for those new workflows that you're going to be doing within the lists or libraries overall. And basically, it's just consolidating the automate and integrate menus that you saw previously, right? So this is happening worldwide. It's available now. GCC is coming here if you haven't gotten it, and GCC 8 should be here in October. So keep that in mind. All right. On the team side, let's jump back in there. File protection, and this is going to be happening. There's two pieces to it: file protection, and there's a URL protect that is also, I read, that's coming out at the exact same timing on this. But for this one, thinking about the fact is that they're really making sure that if somebody, especially if you have a group chat, individual chat, doesn't matter, that somebody puts in a file that could have an executable that could then compromise your system, right? So that's the idea, is really blocking that. And if it is actually seeing that there's going to be an issue with it, it's going to automatically block that. It's going to let the recipient know, hey, by the way, this file didn't come across. This is the reason why. It's going to let the sender know that that's the case as well. And so basically, it's an unsafe file that it's going to say, and giving them the opportunity to be able to reshare that in a different file format, if that's the case, if it's literally a legit file format, and then be able to resend that if need be. Otherwise, they can delete it and go from there. But this is a setting that you will now have inside Teams Admin Center how you want that that feature to work, right? In the admin center, messaging settings, and scan message for a file type that are not allowed. You want to have that or not. That's some update you don't have. It's not automatic. You will have to enable that for your organization, but that's something you want to make sure that you're letting your users know that that's going on. All right. On the team side, continuing, this is on the Teams room. So an update coming to, and I have a lot of organizations that have been going to the Teams rooms on Android side of things. And this is one of the things that they've been asking about is that size of that camera and that tile in the meeting for those who are remote. Sometimes there's only like one person in that room. Sometimes it might be 5, 6, 7, right? And the ask is, if it's only one person in the room, it should be a smaller tile. Well, now this is going to dynamically happen inside that meeting. But the caveat is they do have to have a camera that does actually count the number of people in that room. So it doesn't have to, it actually has that AI capability inside that camera for this to work. So higher end cameras will have that capability. But understand that might be something you want to let your users know that that's going to be happening. And it's happening here beginning of this month to the end of the month. On the premium side, and this is the Teams premium side. Now, we've had some security capabilities for a little while. Things like being able to put a watermark on the screen. So if somebody takes a screenshot, then it will actually have their email address on there, right? So this is the next step, that literally preventing the screen capture, so that they literally, if they take a screenshot of what's on that screen, it's either, depends upon what platform you're on, it may be blank or it may be screened out, right? So things like that, you may be able to, you're not going to be able to take screenshots of the content that's being done. So it's a higher level of security for your meetings that are happening. And this can be configured by in your meeting options by the organizer. And that organizer needs to have that Teams premium license overall. Okay. Also, there's some changes happening on the meeting options. This is already available worldwide. GCC and GCCH is getting it here this month. But you'll notice that some of the areas or the features within meeting options will move around a little bit, right? So you do have some of the meeting options are going to adjust. Plus, especially for the organizers, and this is the part I really like. And I've been working with this a little bit in some of the meetings that I've been seeing. There's actually going to be a control icon in the meeting bar that will allow you to be able to quickly access some of those features and enable them without having to go into that other panel to be able to access all of that. So it's just going to be quicker and easier for your users to access. Definitely a change moment. Definitely let your users know that that's going to be happening. All right, a lot of quick mentions. Some things I will point out, and you guys can come back to the recording later on for some of the other things. Some of the things I really like, number one, noise suppression for those who are going into the audio conferencing for a meeting. So if you have the PSTN or the dial-in capability for your meetings, that's the audio conferencing license. That will actually automatically reduce background noise, right? So that's kind of nice to be able to do that. The other things that I see too is, and I'm not sure how many organizations and how many maybe quick thumbs up. How many are you using private channels within your organization? Okay, so we got a couple. Guess what? We're increasing the limits. So private channel limits have now went from, I think it was like 100-ish to 1,000 per team. Yes, thank you. I needed 1,000 channels for my team. Also, members is increasing to 5,000 per channel and enabling the ability to be able to have a meeting in your private channel, which that part I thought was really good. That one, I think that's a good thumbs up on that one. And they're moving from a compliance perspective where that information is being stored from the user to a Teams group mailbox, which is even better as far as in similar to what we've had in other channel experiences, right? So that's coming up as well. I do also want to mention there is a major change happening here for the sender email address for channel guest invitations. So the email is being changed to this here. So if you do have any email filtering or any of those things, security policies in place, make sure you get those updated as much as possible. On this side over here, there's a couple things I really like. The ability for collaborative notes and chat. So all that, which we've had in the past, is being updated, and it's all Loop. If you're not familiar with Loop, we had a session on Loop not long ago. Loop components is going to be a part of that meeting notes, and it's all collaborative. So you can set them up ahead of time. You can actually work through them during your meeting, and you'll see that included in that particular piece. And then let me jump to the admin actions, and we'll get into our content here. A couple of things. Number one, if you're an Android user, you may be familiar with a tool called Outlook Lite app that was on Android devices. Those types of lower end devices, like they didn't have a lot of power. But that is actually being discontinued here on October 6th. So it's gone as of Saturday. And I wanted to let you know, because if you're using that, you can't anymore. Now, the thing is that if you're new, you won't be able to get access to it. Existing, you can use it for a little while. Highly suggest just getting the Outlook app and installing that. That's a lot better than it used to be, so it's a lot easier on your devices. Everything else here has not changed. All the other updates and around the Lens app, which is happening in December, around SharePoint retirement, our alerts retirement happening next year, and then of course our ever-present InfoPath 2013 Inform Services end of life, July 14th, 2026. And that,
yeah, Don, I think we need to have a party July 14th, 2026.
I think so. I would agree. Yeah, I would totally agree.
That'd be great.
Yeah. We have the death to SharePoint party.
We'll all wear black.
InfoPath. Yeah, totally. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Great updates. Love hearing these. Always great to know they're recorded, so you can always come back to YouTube in a week, have maybe a lunch and learn with your IT team, your security team, or your change management team to get up to date on Message Center.